It's the 7th of April, 2003, and two A-10 Thunderbolt Warthogs are on a mission to provide air support for ground troops fighting in Iraq. Captain Kim "Killer Chick" Campbell and her flight leader, Lieutenant Colonel Rick Bino Turner, race towards a huge sandstorm that covers the area when they get a call from a battle below. Yard 0 to 5. This is Advance 33. My guys are taking fire in the northern part of town. Grid is Mike Bravo 3969-90. It's Lieutenant John Cope Bloker. His unit has been holding position at a strategically vital bridge on the north of Baghdad, and now the Iraqis have come to defend it by firing rocket-propelled grenades directly at the American positions. Copy. Yard 0 to 5 and 0 to 6 inbound. The mission is clear. The two Warthogs race towards their target, and at the same time, they mark friendly and enemy forces on their maps. Turner searches the dust clouds billowing below him through his space-stabilized binoculars and finds what he's looking for, a gap. Quickly he throws his plane inverted and pulls hard on the stick, disappearing below the weather. Then Campbell hears him over the radio. "All right, KC, it's your turn." She initiates the same maneuver and follows him through the dust. As she descends, a shadow falls over the Warthog. The planes emerge from the storm enough to see what is below, and it's a massive battle. A storm of explosions, smoke, and tracers rage between the city streets. On the ground, the Iraqis hear the roar and look up to see approaching A-10s. Their guns are moved skyward in response, and they fire. Back in the planes, an explosion in midair pulls Kim from her thoughts. It's anti-aircraft fire yards away from her aircraft, close enough to feel the shake. She hears Turner on the radio. Advance 33, yard 0 to 5 and 0 to 6 in the area. Targets are under the bridge support, east side. Turner is about a mile ahead and radios that he is going in alone. Yard 0 to 5, and from the north. He gets down low over the water, flying in from the north. He flies past multitudes of buildings, all the while buffeted by the enemy fire, but at least for now, he's still got some element of surprise. He is setting up his attack run as he hears over the radio an urgent message from Coke, their ground controller.
Yard 0 to 5, not effective. You need to come in from south to north. The call from the ground controller changes everything. The two Warthogs pull up sharply, breaking off their attack. They regroup, turning south to line up for a new approach, flying low over the Tigris River. But the element of surprise is gone. The Iraqis now know they're here. Suddenly, Campbell's radio crackles to life. It's her flight lead, Turner. "Wedge, shooters, guns." "Copy," she replies. Immediately, she shifts her A-10 into a wedge formation, bracing for her first attack run of the day. The threat is severe, but Turner has chosen to use guns, not bombs. With friendly forces and civilians nearby, accuracy is paramount. Guns are more precise, but it means they have to fly a dangerous forward-firing profile, getting right underneath the bridge to hit the enemy. They race toward the target. The bridge emerges from the haze like a ghostly specter. They can't see the enemy hidden in its shadow, but they know they're there. 1 is ready. 2 is ready. Campbell watches as Turner dives first. The deafening roar of his cannon washes over the battlefield, unleashing 70 rounds per second into the target area before he pulls up. Now it's her turn. She squeezes the trigger. For 4 seconds, her cannon fire rips through the earth and the bridge structure, blanketing the marked area. She soars over the Iraqi position, hopefully clear of their anti-aircraft fire. But the radio tells a different story. Yard 0 to 5, no joy on target. We are still taking fire. I request another gun run. They missed. The bridge's wide surface and thick supports had perfectly concealed the Republican Guard. It was a textbook defensive position against air attacks. The two pilots banked their Warthogs in perfect formation, lining up for another pass. But this time they've poked the hornet's nest. Tracers start zipping past their canopies as they fly low along the river. The bridge comes into view again. 1 is ready. 2 is ready. Turner opens fire, his shells impacting at a much lower angle, sending the enemy scrambling. The second he pulls up, Campbell unleashes her A-10's fury into the exact same spot. The roar of the rotary cannon once again grips the battlefield. A brutal string of impacts rips through the concrete, followed by the thunder of her jet flying overhead. But the result is the same. Yard 0 to 5, no joy on target. They're still under the bridge. The Iraqis keep firing. They've chosen their position perfectly. It seems even the mighty Warthogs can't touch them. Turner and Campbell disengage, realizing they need a new plan. They decide to switch to hydro rockets. They're unguided and small, but they have dozens of them. Stand by, I'll go first, Turner says. Copy, Campbell responds. Turner banks his A-10, getting dangerously low over the water. Campbell holds her position above, watching her flight lead skim the river, heading straight for the bridge. To use hydras, you have to aim the entire aircraft directly at the target. This was going to be close. Turner holds his course steady through anti-aircraft fire and smoke, as the targeting computer calculates a firing solution. Finally, the target under the bridge appears clear in his sights, and he fires. In a blur, a volley of rockets speed off from their pods. Trails of smoke launch straight towards the bridge. Turner watches with satisfaction as a ripple of explosions is unleashed. The bridge is rocked, but he can't see if he has hit the enemy. Coke once again comes on the radio. Negative, negative. Didn't go in, just impacted on the surface. Turner curses his luck. He signals to Campbell that she is clear to start her attack run. Cleared hot, too. 2 is in from the south. Kim dives down and takes the position. She races along the same path as her leader, but as a maneuver the Iraqis have now seen the Warthogs execute from the same angle and the same place. And this time, they are definitely ready. An Iraqi with a shoulder-launched manpad looks at the A-10 Thunderbolt through his sight. Campbell lines up her reticle, placing it square under the bridge as she fast approaches the target. Then she pulls the trigger. Hydro rockets blast off from under her wing in quick succession, zooming towards the hiding place of the Iraqis. As the explosions grow, she pulls up on the stick and banks to the left to escape the anti-air fire. At that very moment, the Iraqi soldier finally gets a lock on the A-10 and fires. A stream of smoke emerges from below as a rocket powers towards Campbell. It screams in towards the fleeing A-10 and explodes right by her tail. There is nothing she can do. She sees her canopy enveloped by a bright fireball and is shoved forward, and the nose of the aircraft jerks downward, pointing into the city below. Oh shit, 2 got hit, 2 got hit. On the ground, the Iraqis cheer. They got one. Turner pulls his plane back towards Campbell, and at the same time he informs the ground of what's going on. Advance 33, yard 0 to 6 is hit. We are attempting RTB. Do you copy? Yard 0 to 5 solid copy. Good luck, Kim. Kim Campbell doesn't respond. She is fighting with the controls as her Warthog heads straight towards the Iraqi-held streets of Baghdad. She grabs the stick and tries desperately to turn left, back to the American-held side of the river. But nothing happens. Her eyes dart between the instruments. The panel in front of has the massive flashing lights. Master caution light is on. Hydraulic warning lights. Hydraulic pressure on both redundant loops is 0. With all hydraulics gone, she has no control over the roll of her plane. She could eject right now or switch to manual reversion. It is an incredibly dangerous and torturous way to fly a Warthog, but the other option is ejecting over the enemy side of the river. I'm not ejecting over Baghdad. She chooses to activate manual reversion. Now she can only rely on her own strength. She pulls hard to the left and up. Her plane reacts slowly. Bringing the elevator controls to the neutral position may require up to 150 pounds of force on the control handle. So she pulls hard with both hands and slowly, the 16-ton machine rolls left, carrying her away from the enemy-held side of Tigris River. Chaff's flares! Turner's voice breaks through the beeps of the warning lights. Chaff's flares! Tracers zip by around the wounded Warthog, and Turner desperately tries to keep Campbell's plane from being hit again. She releases defensive chaff and pulls hard on the stick again with all her strength. With huge skill and effort, she steers her plane away from the raging battle below and manages to get it above the weather. Her right hand gives up, and she switches control to the left as she considers her options. Landing on manual reversion mode is hardly practiced, and only 3 pilots have attempted it during Desert Storm, and 1 died trying. Should she eject? She is interrupted from her thoughts with Turner coming over the radio as he flies up alongside her. Yard 0 to 6. It's still 200 miles to the base. How is she flying in manual? Don't push it. Friendlies below if you need to get out. She remembers the waiver she had to sign, that she understood that ejection seats were made for heavier pilots, usually men, and the G-forces of an ejection could be fatal for her. Affirm. Yard 0 to 5. Can you give me eyes on damage? What do you see back there? Yard 06 copy. Turner looks hard at the smoking plane. His eyes run over the fuselage and the tail, and he sees hundreds of holes from the fragmentation of the warhead. You have got holes scattered all over the fuselage and tail, stretching as forward as far as the gear pods and even into the wing root. There is a football-sized hole in the right horizontal stabilizer. Turner looks towards the rear of the plane and is horrified to see flames flickering on the tail. Also, the right engine is covered in shrapnel strikes. Should he tell her? He decides against it. He needs to keep her positive and tries to lift her spirits. You have some improved ventilation aft, but it is still airworthy. Copy yard 0 to 5. Campbell has made her choice. I can handle it. I'll take her home. I'm with you all the way. Campbell dumps her weapons over the desert to make the plane lighter and to avoid an explosion in a hard landing. The USAF, though, have hardwired the heavy electronic countermeasure pod to the wing. There is no way for a pilot to jettison it. It unbalances the plane, and to land on manual and with an ECM pod attached makes the whole operation more complex and dangerous. She has to physically fight against the skewed aerodynamics through the entire hour-long flight back to base. But finally, the Al Jaber Air Base in Kuwait comes into view. She lowers the gear with the auxiliary handle. Seconds feel like an eternity until the gear extension lights finally come on. She is as ready as she ever be for landing. Yard 0 to 6. Emergency. Gear down. Full stop. Campbell slows the Warthog. It becomes easier to control her at slightly lower speed, reassuring her as she comes in for the final approach. But there's one last surprise. Just 60 feet from the ground, her plane rolls sharply to the left. Her heart is in her mouth as she instinctively yanks the stick to the right. The aircraft mercifully returns to a controlled descent, and seconds later she touches down on the runway. Thank you, God. The radio erupts with congratulations from all her fellow pilots as she comes down from the adrenaline high. Amazingly, the whole ordeal did not faze her, and Campbell would get back in the air the very next day. Her aircraft, however, was damaged beyond repair and never flew again. Captain Kim "Killer Chick" Campbell was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for her airmanship.